Everything's coming up Millhouse for old Dan.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Oh,
that's good. I see you're back to wearing your Pat McAfee outfit.
yep, back in my Pat Mac gear for sure. I
That's
figured
good.
I had to join forces with Tom, so
I heard Edelyn texted me. She said she was getting ready to become one of Bud's buds and she was going to be in a cryo chamber sleep until the end of the season. When your mom does a Galentine's, it just means that she's eating ice cream by the gallon.
oh yeah, your mom does the old Vienna sausages spread. Tom, how are you?
Doing good. How are you guys?
You finally got sleeves on it. Your first podcast with sleeves. I tried to match up with you, and you
Yeah.
made
Do we have a quota? We've got to have like
at least
one
two
tank top.
bare shoulders per
Yeah.
episode.
You Second Amendment freaks. You
As
love your bare arms.
Hey,
you got to support the Canadians with this episode.
welcome to this episode of the Prestige-ish Media Podcast. I'm your host, Craig Lake, and with me are just a couple ghouls. Am I right? Just talking ghoul stuff with Tom Chan and Dan McNair. How are you guys this evening?
Did we lose Tom already? Where'd Tom go?
Oh my God, you killed Tom, you bastards. I think he's coming back.
I am back.
We're just talking ghoul stuff, Chan. How are you this evening?
Oh, I am peachy, ready to kill some death claws.
All right, let's talk about it. So we are on Fallout Season 2, Episode 7, the handoff, not what you usually do when no one's watching, Dan, but initial thoughts and rating on this episode, Dan.
I gave this one a 7-8. I thought it was
Okay.
interesting to see some of the Steph backstory, and I thought it worked. And I know that she's one you've got your eye on because she's easy on the eye.
Keyword one eye, go
The
ahead.
rest of the story moving along, I thought was fun and good. I think I'm learning a lot more about the Fallout universe this season, and I think Tom's really helping with that. But a lot of things are starting to come together for me.
Tom, initial thoughts and a rating on this Episode 7, the penultimate episode of this season.
I give it a 7. Definitely was pushing a lot more interesting storyline for Hank and his family. One more episode left, so I've got some ideas of what next season's going to bring.
You know, I was going to give this a 7.9, but I forgot about the old Ella Purnell in the yellow dress. So that's going to bump it to a solid 8, a hard 8, if you will. And I think that's a fair
The
rating.
hands aren't off anymore.
Yeah, I think that there's other episodes this season that are better, but I think this continues the streak of the back half of this season or the back 3/4 of this season being high quality and keeping my interest. So let's get into it. We start in the woods. How long did it take you guys to figure out this was Stephanie? Dan is somebody
right
who
off the bat
infamously.
for me.
Okay, so you thought there were two different Saurons, but it took you got Stephanie right away. Tom, did it take you a second, or did you know it was her right off?
It took me a second, but yeah, I pretty much knew it was going to be her since we knew all the signs at the beginning.
Yeah, we had some Alaska scenes, but at first I was just taken aback because this is just different scenery than we've got for most of the show. It was more like an episode of Last of Us than it was this at first. And then I was trying to acquaint, who they were. And then when I realized Stephanie was one of them, do we have our first G9 for gay bingo of the season? Or these two were lovers or mother-daughter?
It's mother-daughter.
Are you positive?
Yeah, I thought it was mother-daughter.
I read articles that list her as that, but I don't know that they were right.
So we can't check off gay bingo yet. Every other show is gay, but this one. I thought that might explain the dynamic between her and Chet because it's so fucking weird. Aside from the fact that, Chet is suspicious of her, but there's no real romantic chemistry at all. But I guess she did have a former boyfriend that got killed when she got stabbed in the eye, right? Is that what happened?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess maybe we can't check off gay bingo, but yeah, I was just trying to figure out what was going on. So we had seen the Canadian terrorist ID, right? It's a Canadian terrorist ID. Or maybe it was territory. I digress. But so the other Canadian clue we get early is it's like back to the internment camp hosers. So that was interesting. But now, did it look like it was a suicide bomber that got the suit of armor? Okay.
Yeah.
And then there were drones going on.
Should we call them like Canadian kamikazes?
I don't know. I mean, you're Asian, you can get away with more than I can in this side of the thing. But yeah, here's the thing. Stephanie's got to keep the eye patch on, right? Eye patch off is a rough go. Any comments from you there? Any comments on the open, Dan?
I do not objectify women the way you do, unless
Mary
of course
Kill.
it's your mom.
Mary Kill, black eye patch, no eye patch, or white eye patch?
Wait, what?
I
The
think you
color
got
of the eye patch gives you a boner?
No, I'm saying I think you got to marry the white eye patch, right? For obvious reasons.
Yeah.
And I would say the black eye patch and kill no eye patch.
I mean, without an eye patch, there is a hole there. So
cheese and crackers, Tom coming out hot.
Greg's been targeting that ever since he took his hands off.
Dan, anything else from you here?
No, I think somewhere it said Uranium City. There's a lot of uranium nods in the last couple episodes. Like that was the name of the internment camp that they were escaping from.
Yeah.
But that's my only really thing right here.
I know Tom kept talking about visiting Uranus. Are you sure it was that or was it uranium? So we get this weird thing if it is her mom that's don't think of them as people, like they're Americans, and like she starts going Kill Bill, Uma Thurman on everyone. Tom, any other thoughts on this kind of open here?
Yeah, that was surprising with her being like going John Wick style on everybody, trying to enter in America. But it was a interesting backstory. I mean, it gave us a lot of who she is in just like, what, 5 minutes?
Yeah, I think this adds some dynamic to her character for sure. And I think of the stuff that's left in the vaults as of now, she was about the only interesting thing there. And so at least it gives that some additional depth. I mean, the Betty stuff's okay. We all got a good larf out of the inbreeding support group, but not really a lot going on there outside of her. So we see Lucy kind of processing what her dad has done. One quote was, I guess this is one way to save the world, but it's wrong. We get a quote from Hank saying, perfect is the enemy of good. He's trying to explain to her what's going on. And he says it just cleans their brains up a bit. He does say the procedure's irreversible, but do we know that it is, or do we believe him? Dan or Tom, any thoughts on if he's telling the truth there, if he's just doing this to manipulate her?
My thought is that it's total BS and make-believe. He's trying to tell her things that she wants to know. Because if it's irreversible, like how many rats and people did he blow up just to get it to work to this point? So now you want to add a whole new like segment of discovery and degree of difficulty. So I'm not buying that he's got any future implications mastered for this device.
What about you, Tom? Are you buying that it's irreversible?
No. Yeah, I agree with Dan pretty much. He's saying what he wants Lucy to hear to get her on his side. But
Greg wants to get Lucy on him and his side.
Hey now, I'm a classy guy. Speaking of, her dad's teaching her to drive. I think it's an interesting dynamic. This is her dad, and they did have a good relationship up until this breaking point. And so it's an interesting scenario. She doesn't even know what a golf cart is. This is her first time driving, and so it is in one way. It is in one way her dad teaching her how to drive and not knowing to use one foot on two pedals. Dan, have you taught your daughters how to drive, and how did you like that part of this?
I've taught them. I taught my oldest a lot more to drive than my middle one, but never in a golf cart. So that's still a whole new thing. I thought it was interesting enough, but at times it seems like they flirt with making Hank sympathetic and likable and then zag right back. So any of this like endearing father-daughter stuff, I'm very wary, I'm swimming with caution here.
Yeah, and I don't think he's really necessarily redeemable. I,
We
I don't
lost Craig, the ghouls got him.
Oh,
I don't think, hang on.
I'm next to go, guys. You both popped off.
I'm just getting my phone's blowing up here
There's like a death claw around or something.
between Dan's favorite the Scotch and then the telemarketers. It's a rough minute here.
Scott's sending you his hands-on pick.
So yeah, I don't think Hank's necessarily redeemable. I think some of this is to show the complexity of it from Lucy's perspective, how it would be tough for her to reconcile this. And I don't know that anybody has been in an abusive relationship or had maybe some challenging familia members. And that is a tough dichotomy to balance. So another moment we're talking about here that was cute is she was trying to work through what she needed to blow up the server, like water and potassium, and him like quizzing her on stuff. So I do think it's more fun watching him go through the motions and having him be encouraging of this than if he was just against her the whole time. Why it doesn't redeem him, it's more fun to watch. Any thoughts there, Tom?
yeah, I think it also maybe he was trying to do the whole family thing just to, again, bring Lucy back on his side. But yeah, I mean, Hank's probably 100% evil. So there's no way of just us accepting what he's trying to do is, you know, 100% real. But there's a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, we see the tease, and you could see like whether we buy it as an audience or not, which I don't think most of us do.
Yeah.
But, when she sees this guy from the Legion and these like basically rapers and marauders are now maybe a little more docile, and she has this conversation of maybe this could be better. Obviously, she doesn't go that way with it, and I think that's a more interesting choice, but her at least entertaining the idea or the premise, I think is fair. Dan, any thoughts there?
No, I agree with what you guys put out there, and I think it's a good point that like we see a lot of daughter dynamics on TV, and this is fresh and unique with the different layers of manipulation, but also relationship too.
Yeah, and this is one of the few rare cases where it's like at least the manipulation feels a little more easygoing than if it was like villain mustache twirly stuff going on. I think there's just a lot of subtle nuance going on, which we know I'm a fan of. So we see Thaddeus, Maximus, and the Ghoul traversing. We're learning what their strategy is. Some pretty good Thaddeus. Just a couple ghouls, am I right? Just talking ghoul stuff. What did you make? I think this is actually another good Thaddeus episode. Dan is our resident Thaddeus fan club president. How did you think he fared this episode?
I agree. I think this season the doses of Thaddeus are perfect. Like too much of him could be tiresome and a little bit of an eye roll, but he gets in, he gets a zinger, he gets out, he loses an arm, everybody's happy.
They call him the Dan of Ghouls, in and out in no time. Tom, your thoughts?
Yeah, I really like the dynamic between Thaddeus, Maximus, and Cooper. Yeah, the whole just a couple of ghouls going around, right? I like that whole thing.
Craig, you were historically like you hated Maximus season one. I imagine seeing him with this pairing is probably a lot more digestible for you.
I mean, it's this or Dane's mustache, and I'll advantage this every time. But yeah, Thaddeus definitely makes it more pleasant for sure. And obviously, the ghoul is some of what we've talked about before. Mixing maybe some of your weaker characters with some of your stronger characters is always gonna help. If you have to have them, they might as well be with somebody entertaining. And I do think it's interesting not knowing the backstory, but seeing the townspeople's reaction to the new California Republic and these different factions as we go on. It at least adds a dynamic to this that can be passable.
In the game, the NCR had a pretty big presence in the strip. Like they had a headquarter base in the strip, and they had soldiers pretty much all around keeping watch at the strip. So that's why you see the reaction of the town folk like that to the NCR.
Yeah, so I thought that was cool. So we'll kind of see where that's going. Now, we get kind of two levels going on at once, right? And tell me if I'm understanding this right, but we have Cooper in the previous timeline figuring out what he's going to do with cold fusion, and then we have him in the current timeline or future timeline navigating the cold fusion with Maximus. And there's almost this dichotomy as, maybe Maximus's idealism of getting this to Lucy being similar to Cooper's idealism of trying to get this to your favorite politician, Dan, Congresswoman Welch. Is she a Welcher, Dan? But yeah,
Another good Welch episode. And let's not forget the last president of the US.
who is it? Is that
He was in Gen V. He was like the first
Clancy Brown.
dean. And he was in Lost. He was Kelvin.
okay?
He's
Here
a
we go.
prestigious cameo guy.
Alumnus. Yeah, so we also get this backstory of Cooper giving Stephanie $100 to wheel Hank back to his room, I guess, question mark. And then we see her trying to survive, trying to find a vault. Like, I was surprised she didn't throw himself at Cooper. Like, I don't think she knew that his wife was around the corner, but maybe she did. But it seemed like she was by any means necessary to get into a vault. Did you guys find that angle interesting at all, Tom?
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. I didn't think she was gonna try and throw herself at Coop like that. I think it was her trying to be Canadian evil. But it's interesting with her rolling out Hank, and then now was a couple episodes ago she was asking Betty to get something from Hank in the vault. So it makes you wonder, what happened in the past between them.
Yeah, no, I'd agree. Dan, anything there?
I thought it was fun. Like we've seen these Cooper flashbacks, and being that this episode is also a Steph flashback, the way that they like inserted her right into there, I thought was cool. And so this starts off, you can see a thread where she gets into Voltec, she becomes one of Bud's buds. She, now knows Hank, and like we can kind of see the dots connect.
Yeah, so then there is this exchange with Congresswoman Welch and Cooper. Now, I have a question. I think this is the bar, maybe that the guy was like, no taxes, lizard, don't tax me, bro, lizard, or something. Because I don't think it was the bar in the center of the hotel that they're normally at. But I thought maybe Stephanie and Hank were like in the way back. There was like a blonde that I wasn't sure if it was her on the other side of the bar. So I just thought that was an interesting dynamic. Any thoughts there? And what did you think of this setup? And I think we can just skip ahead to where we end up with Congresswoman Welch. Is she the third party? Did she just Rochambeau everyone? Is she evil, Dan?
Yeah.
Question mark.
I did consider that. How far are we skipping ahead with Congresswoman?
I think we can go all the way as you would want to do with her. But I will put on the board, I do believe I mentioned her being like an only murder type of candidate a few episodes ago, that this would be a hiding in plain
We're
sight
seeing
kind
more
of
and
thing.
more of her now, and
It's a little much, yeah.
She's a bigger player than you might have first thought. That's a good point.
I mean, when she was first
think-
portrayed, she was first portrayed like awkward. And in this episode, she was like so mysterious.
Dan?
I just want to say that like the mannequin dummy of her head at the end doesn't really look anything like the actress. It's kind of like Kim Cattrall being mannequin. Could you at least make it look something like the source material?
Join Dan later for his Madame Tussauds grading scale. Yeah, I mean, what was going on with it there? It looked like she's connected to all these mainframes, like maybe even a step above Bud's Bud.
Yeah, I think there's something there of like all of the power is coming from the hive people or the Bud's Bud brain. Like,
was she working for the house? The house always wins, like he said.
Or did she get punished and now this is her new role in life?
I don't know. We'll see. I know you don't want to believe that she's the bad guy, Dan, but much like some of these other politicians you follow, not always great.
So are you saying, because I did have this idea that she could have been the one that dropped the bombs?
I think she's the third party.
Okay.
I think it's very probable that she's the
Other player at the table.
yeah. Tom, any other thoughts on Old Lady Welsh?
I think she pretty much turns. I think she's pretty much running the whole mainframe. I mean, you see all the wires coming out of her every orifice, I guess. But it's going to be interesting. I just want to see how she ended up where she's at now.
All right, I've got one for you, Tom. Impromptu. Your first time on the podcast.
Uh-oh.
Bang, Mary, Kill. Here it is for you. Betty, Ma June, or Congresswoman Welch. Bang, Mary, Kill. What's your play here?
There are no winners at this game, Tom. There's only losers.
Kill.
The house always wins.
Yeah.
What do you got? You got to make a choice, Tom. Gun to your head. What are you doing?
Yeah, I would say marry Betty so you can
Okay.
ignore her.
Okay.
And then I would say bang Congressman Welch. And then
Okay. Dan, what about you?
I was thinking about this as Tom was answering it, and I came to the same conclusion. Betty, at least you get water and maybe you can motorboat some jello now and again. I'm definitely banging Congresswoman Welch, and I want nothing to do with Ma June or her roach farm. Keep me far away from that. Kill 'em all, Metallica.
Yeah, I think this is probably it. I don't want to bang Congresswoman Welsh to be sure, but with a gun to my head. Now here's a
take one for the
question.
team.
Here's the question. Bang Congresswoman Welsh or hand stuff only with Ma June? Dan, you first.
This episode's called The Handoff. I'm gonna have to keep my hands off and go with Welch, unfortunately.
Tom, hand stuff from Ma June or you have to bang Congresswoman Welsh?
Are we talking about me doing the hand stuff?
No, Ma June does the hands.
Yeah,
Ma-
that changes it all around.
You want to do hand stuff to Ma June? Is that what I'm getting from this?
See, because
All
you
right,
can
Craig.
because
I've
you
got
can
one for
totally
you.
Hey, let me answer first. So I'm going hand stuff from Ma June, but only if she showers. What do you got, Dan? What's on the board here?
You go oral on HBO Maximus or Kiss Dane.
I'll kiss Dane.
Whoa!
I mean,
with the mustache.
it is what it is. It is what it is. It is what it is. All right, let's get back into this episode. Let me find where we were. So there was like some conversation with Thaddeus asking Cooper Ghoul like about like he's just waiting to lose his nose and is this mouth I have coming out of me normal? And it seems like Cooper just kind of ignored him. Obviously, we end up with that NCR suit. Anything from any of this, Tom?
Yeah, I think Cooper saw that mouth and I think he has an idea of what he might be turning into, but he didn't want to tell him. In my eyes, I think he might be turning into a centaur, which is like a radioactive monster that you run into in Fallout 4, maybe. But the NCR power armor looked so badass, and I thought it was pretty cool dynamic for having Maximus going back to his Shady Sands roots, because that's where he grew up watching NCR people. I thought that was cool for him, like you said, going full circle, coming back around.
What about you, Dan?
I'm glad that Tom kind of cleaned that up because I was wondering about it. When I saw the mouth, I'm like, and ghouls, he kind of gives the reaction of that's not a ghoul thing.
Yeah.
And we'd been led to believe that Thaddeus was a ghoul since the end of last season when Maximus, he gets hit in the neck with the arrow and Maximus goes, I think you're a ghoul, dude. And let's not forget it was the chicken diddler that gave Thaddeus like the whatever it was that turned him. So that was, just a little walk down memory lane there. So I'm thinking that Thaddeus is some sort of an abomination, which seems to be a theme this season. There's all sorts of different species of experimented on humans, and where we thought Thaddeus was a ghoul, now he becomes something else. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, I'm curious where that's going. I don't know enough about ghoul lore and what pox that mark them. And so I hadn't really registered that, but everything you guys are saying makes sense. Speaking of chickens, Norm is waking up from his choked chicken. He's not dead, but you overhear them basically talking about killing him. Basically, Ronnie is, I'm pretty sure it says we can kill him. And they're like, if you're pretty sure, I guess we can. So Ronnie, as you know, we all thought is a real piece of, but they knocked Norm out again with some big metal
Dude,
thing or something.
yeah. I thought it
I
was
mean,
like a bowling ball or something. It was huge.
I mean, luckily he has that Neanderthalic
Yeah.
forehead to keep them all together. But do these guys not know about CTE and the vault? Buds never learned about this stuff. Any thoughts on where that's going? It does seem like if we skip a little further ahead, that Claudia's on his good side, right? Claudia's not evil, so it seems.
She acts good here, but I could still see the heel turn coming for her.
Yeah, it was a weird look last episode, so I definitely could see it going either way. Speaking of, I thought while there were a lot of strong parts with the Stephanie stuff, I thought the Chet stuff with the Woody's glasses, like they could have cut that in half time-wise. We didn't have to get that long of a sequence, and maybe he just saw part of a glass. Like it was just weird that he just broke it and shoved it all back down and then comes out with everything later. I just don't know how that all checked out, but he did have the ace in the hole, which is the Canadian territory or terrorist ID, depending on how you look at it. Any thoughts on that, Dan?
What I'm wondering, I'd like to take some bets here. I'm thinking better than a coin flip that we do see Woody again, but the way that they removed him from the show is kind of curious for somebody. Like it feels like Zach Cherry is somebody that you want to get on screen more these days. So I'm just like I find it curious that he just disappeared and they kind of more wrote him off than whatever's going on.
Yeah, that's how I was reading it. You got to pay for Zach Cherry now. I have taken it that way too, but they could swerve us. Any
I
thoughts
mean,
from you
we
there?
have seen him this season, but
Not, I mean, just one episode, not
it's
much. Even if we see
really
him
sparingly.
even if we see him again in the last episode, I mean, it could have all been filmed pretty close together, you know.
I mean, yeah, he's more expensive, but you've got Amazon money here.
Yeah, you do, but you just don't know what his schedule was, or maybe the Emoji Movie needed, you know, him to
Another season of Succession.
voice the new money face or something. I
separate.
don't know. So we hear that in Betty's chamber, the showers are outlawed, no flushing of the toilets. Bono would be in a lot of trouble at our office. Yeah,
Is
I
there a
mean,
new "Don't Go In There After Me" award winner?
yeah, he has definitely taken your crown. Dan did get an
I've got an
award
old shiny award.
posthumously. He did get the Don't Go In There award. Bono has given you a run for your money. With him, we have
For
to
the
worry.
runs for my money.
With him, we have to worry more about the paint coming off the walls. We do get Betty congratulating Stephanie on her engagement. She brings whatever this thing is.
The keepsake box, yeah.
Yeah, but we don't obviously know what's in it yet. And then there's some sort of dog and pony show over 50% of water, which she says she'll do, but she can't speak to the future. That's bigger than us, setting up for Betty to be double crossed again, possibly. I don't think you could really trust Stephanie with anything, right? But I guess it's what Betty had to do at this time. Thoughts, Tom?
He sees them as Americans still, probably. Yeah, I thought it was interesting that she's putting off on sharing the water so much. So I wonder if she's got some plans still for the other vault.
More like Candida, am I right? Dan, your thoughts?
I don't know that any of us are, but I don't know how vested I am in the Vault 32, 33. I don't care so much about Betty. I wanted this to move on. I think the Stephanie Chet stuff might not have been the strength of the episode, but at least as far as vaults are concerned, more interesting to me at least.
Yeah, this part I don't care about anyone who's actually in the vault besides Stephanie. If they all starve past that, I don't really care. Not to say I really care if she starves, but she's the most interesting. If a character's can continue, I wouldn't mind seeing more of her, but like even Chad and the baby can die in a fire for all I care. So To your point, Tom, it's the Freesiders that are really enamored by seeing this NCR suit. We should mention as Vegas stewards, like, it's not exactly because it's like East Side, West Side, all this stuff, but like the Freesiders seems like that's supposed to be like the Fremonty type area, or just like on the other side of Fremont, maybe, Dan. There's got to be something to that play on words.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm willing to buy that as much as anything else.
Yeah, and just like the Las Vegas itself, it's not a one for one, but it's hard to believe that there's not some illusion for the pieces of the sign or whatever being somewhat relative to that.
It's weird geography wise. Like obviously there's Prim, and this episode they mentioned McCarran, not
Yeah.
Harry Reid. So I thought that was
The
kind of interesting
NCR
too.
had their main headquarters at the McCarran Airport. So I think at one of the early episodes, at the end of the episode, you see the McCarran Airport all busted up. That was where the NCR headquarters was.
Okay.
They called it
So,
Camp McCarran.
did Thaddeus losing his arm, does this play into your Centaurius theory, Tom? Do they lose their arms?
They do still have arms, but they're kind of like half humanoid, half like centipede or something like that. So
Human
you got to,
centipede, interesting.
yeah, human centipede, right? But
Uh,
yeah, you got to look them up and see what they look like. But I mean, that's just a guess what he might be turning into.
yeah, I thought this was the weaker of the Thaddeus comedy bits, but it was still fine. Anything from you, Dan?
I actually kind of liked it. Oh, just give me a minute. I'm sure I'll get it like back on. And it
Yeah,
seemed like them going against the death clause, you're like gonna need every ace up your sleeve, but when your
Especially if he's
sleeve
going
is
to be a
laying on the
sniper.
ground, it's might not be so helpful. So I was kind of curious about how all that was gonna play out.
Shibuya roll call. We've got Lucy in her yellow dress. Song playing was Daddy's Little Girl by the Mills Bros, for those keeping score at home. Her favorite is mashed potatoes. He said Norm, not so much. I didn't know if he meant Norm's not her favorite or if Norm didn't like mashed potatoes. Any read on that from any of you?
I took it as Norm doesn't like mashed potatoes.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
That was like the only time he mentioned Norm.
So we see her eventually cuff her dad and says she thanks to you, I'm not a fudging idiot. But we see this kind of questioning she does of one of the Legion people, and then they're trying to sell us on how she's going to let him loose or something. But one thing I wanted to know, in Westworld, you have these robotic type people, and when they have their like defects, you call them reveries. And there's certain things like them seeing a picture of themselves before, there's certain things that can trigger these reveries. And as she was asking the Legionnaire to remember certain things, go ahead.
It
Is
was
it a
that.
Caesar or a Kaiser
It
or
was
I
the
think he was
Irene?
NCR
the
guy.
NCR guy
Yeah, it was the NCR guy,
that
the old guy
that brought
that
him
suited
back to
up.
That's
health
oh,
after
that's
Ghoul
the
rescued her.
Yeah, the
squirrel.
canary guy.
That's the
Oh
squirrel
yeah,
diddler.
squirrel. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so that's the squirrel
And
diddler.
and we
Regardless,
never saw him like get roped into all this. So I'm
Yeah,
wait, I recognize his face, but how did he get there?
so regardless, squirrel diddler or not, I think the premise stands that they're setting up a possible trigger to make these things go haywire, and it could go sideways, is my guess. And produced by the Joy and Nolan team that did Westworld. So I think they might go back to one of the bags in their old tricks kind of thing. Anything from you there, Tom, otherwise?
I thought it was pretty good part of the episode because I guess you kind of see Lucy wanting to help her dad, but then after the whole conversation with that and her seeing them with that device that they have no memory of their previous life at all, that pretty much what set her off saying, yeah, I can't be a part of this.
Dan, your thoughts?
I think that's a good call out on you on the Lisa Joy of it all. But I could also see it being like a swerve on that, even though probably not a lot of viewers are as savvy to the creators and the work. But I could also see it being like the exact opposite because of that.
Yeah, I think that's fair, but I think it's a pretty deep playbook. And there was just that danger of what is her questions going to trigger. Aside, I guess the other big thing, we get the Chet and Stephanie wedding. She's got a white eye patch now, as we previously covered. Canadian terrorist or territory. She's 200 years old, so that would be the other big thing on the ID. This whole thing gets blown up and she hides in her vault, and we don't really get much past that. Anything else you guys got from all of that?
I think it was a good Chet moment, but are they trying to make Steph? Are we supposed to feel sorry for her? I guess is what I'm wondering. We've seen her kill people, we've seen her go on a tear, and now she's like crying in the corner. Is this going to be a turn? Because I like Steph as the villain. So that's what I'm throwing out there.
I think it's just like a psychotic break or something. Like she's still bad. Tom, your thoughts?
Yeah, probably a nervous breakdown. I mean, she's locked herself in the room, so she eventually has to be coming out to face them. But I like how when Chet was revealing her to everybody, that everybody had the most gasp when he said, "And she's Canadian."
Yeah, I know that part was pretty funny.
Like they didn't even give a crap that she was 200 years old, but Canadian, what the?
Yeah, no, that was fair. We also get Lucy driving poorly and Norm trying to call out from the depths to her or his dad. And then we get everything kind of relining up. First, Maximus has to like fight off the death clause so the ghoul can get into the Lucky 38 or like the Robert House Capua suite. He just leaves Maximus to be right or die, or was that part of the plan, or for him to get gangbanged by a pack of death claws? What do we think? The Maximus side of this, what do we think was going on there, Dan?
So his only instruction to Maximus was like, stay between me and the death clause.
Yeah.
So I don't know that he was necessarily hanging him out to dry, but he didn't give him an escape plan either.
But then he was like also trying to get to Lucy, so shouldn't he have gone in when he went in? Who knows? Tom, do you have any comments there?
I think Coop knows that the power armor is pretty good, that Maximus can handle his own. So I didn't think he was leaving him out to dry or anything like that.
I guess where I haven't had a lot of confidence in the power armor, and maybe this is just a better grade of NCR armor, but we already saw him almost get by death claws in the Alaska scene. So I'm like, how well is this really going to hold up? But maybe it's like upgraded armor and it works better. Certainly the big door to the neck seems to work. The car door to the neck, the old Brock Lesnar trick seemed to be passable. Yeah. So the ghoul is in the Robert House Elvis suite. There's no signal. There's some sort of save our family, save the world. We see the aforementioned Welsh meeting in the like car with the president. As Lucy's like kind of converging on the room where the Welsh head is, he's firing up the cold fusion to kind of repower all the house stuff. And then we've got Bud's brain and like a brain. You know, we've got Welsh hooked up to all these crazy straws, and then
Futurama.
Robert House is a ghost in the machine, question mark. What do we think's going on here? What did we make of the hello old chum ending? Dan.
I'll defer to Tom on that one.
It's interesting the way it turned out, because when you play New Vegas, you have 4 different endings depending on your playstyle. So this one playstyle is where you kill House. So I'm thinking this is where the show takes off from. But yeah, it's hard to say what's going to happen.
So
Dan,
in
your
all
thoughts.
of New Vegas, is House like a physical human, or is there one where like his body has died, but his brain is like living in a computer?
Yeah, it's pretty much he's the computer when you interact with them in the game. So yeah, where this is after the game, I'm not sure. Not sure what the whole canon is, which ending I guess they chose to follow.
Yeah, I think this is interesting. The quote from Lucy when she finds the Welsh head, she says, "Oh, Dinah," just for reference. The closing song was some sort of Wing Dang Taffy Apple Tango Dog and Pony show. But we did, as you guys love the post credits, we saw Little America, the Big 5-1, the biggest 51st state, Canada, finally coming into the fold. Thoughts on the close and thoughts in total, Dan, as we wrap this episode before the finale?
I enjoyed it, but it's a little too close, I think, to actual events. Obviously, they wrote this, scripted this probably a couple of years ago, but in the online chatter, there were Canadians taking great offense to it, giving current political
Yeah, I see
climate,
that. Oh,
which I kind of found entertaining at the same time.
Yeah, like we can watch a whole season of assassinations the day someone's assassinated. But this
You're
is
talking
too
about The Boys season 4.
but this is too far. And I'm sure like where I wouldn't like it as much as if I thought it was like directly because of Trump and they were trying to poke fun at the Canadians. It really seems like it could just be a big coincidence is what I took it as. So it's funnier as a coincidence than it would be if it was intentional. Tom, your thoughts? Any other notes on the close?
yeah, that's interesting with the whole online Canadian discourse. I mean, you see all the Mounties being hung, but it looked like they also took out some power armors too.
And
But
all the Mounties are hung, Tom? What were you watching?
yeah,
Are we talking about Sir Arlen again or what's going on?
Were they poorly hung or hung?
yeah.
All right.
But yeah, I mean, it's just a big coincidence, I think, because you already have the whole premise of Canada being annexed from the
Yeah, that's
whole
like this game
whole
came out
Fallout
years
lore.
ago where that was part
Yeah,
of the story.
Second and third dearly, there was like something similar recently in wrestling where they have a character El Grande Americano and they said he is from the Gulf of America and people tried to be offended by it, but he's actually one of the most famous wrestlers in Mexico for their promotion there. It's just hilarious. Once in a while we can all have a chuckle at the world's expense. Dan,
Canada.
anything else?
Yeah, I'm like this season has really picked up for me, and I'm excited to kind of close it out and continue on with this. I'd say I'm more of a fan of Fallout now than I probably was when the season began, and I was a fan of the show before, but now I almost want to play the game.
Yeah, I mean, if we got a Switch re-release or remaster, I'll definitely try it. Still kind of waiting for that for my entry point.
Goes
Thinking about
Tom,
trying
he
to play
left
the
it
game.
dangling there like a well-hung Mountie.
Mountie.
Well,
But I think I want to play Fallout 3. I haven't played that game in a long time, and I think that's where maybe next season might be headed because we haven't really seen much of DC yet.
I think there was an announcement today that Fallout 1976 was like released for free or something, or is available for free, but I assume it's just on whatever platforms it was already available on.
I
I
haven't
don't
played that in a
So
while.
I don't
Yeah,
think there's like a Switch release, but
So we've got one episode left then, right? You said this was penultimate.
yes,
yeah.
sir.
So it feels like there's a lot of different directions this could go.
That's what I'm saying, that there's so much story left to be told from everything that's been going on so far.
They know there's another season. Season 3 is locked, so it doesn't really
There it is,
matter.
but you want bookends to a season. Like it felt like season 1 like ended at a good place and then
Well,
left it up for another.
once again, I don't think when they did one, they knew for sure they'd get two at the script stage. I think in this case, they pretty much knew they were getting three. And I think there's a difference. Amazon fast tracks these productions to where they can make it year after year. So that's where, in my world of TV, I don't mind getting left out to hang if like I'm coming right back next year, but
Yeah,
don't Last of Us me and I'm gonna wait 3 years, kiss my but if they leave us hanging a little bit and we're getting something next year, I don't care. It's not that big of a deal to me.
To
Cast.
see some sort of a ghoul house showdown at like in the modern timeline, similar to the Hank Griffith Park Observatory showdown that we had at the end of season 1. And I'm sure Lucy will be there. I imagine Maximus and probably even Thaddeus will show up. Maybe even Normal, pop in or something like that. But we've got a lot of fractured storylines everywhere, and I would like to see it kind of feed back into one main event, one main story.
Don't you wish it was Norm from Cheers and not this rat face munchkin?
That I would like to see. Like some of the AI wizards can make that happen.
Is he dead?
He-
I think so.
That's a good question. I think he might have passed away recently, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Did we just kill Norm?
Is Cliff still alive? Can we get him?
He should do some voiceovers.
Cheers. Norm, cheers. Norm,
One
George
thing about
Wendt
cheers.
is his
Norm,
name.
George Wendt is dead.
Ah.
Last year, May 20th, just this last year, we just barely lost him.
Ah, he was a
Yeah.
White Sox fan too. We don't have many.
They they probably killed him.
Yeah, that team might have.
What about
John
old John
Ratzenberger?
Ratzenberger? Can we get him? Is he still kicking? I
I'm gonna say
think
yes.
he's still alive. So I'll settle for Ratzenberger to replace the rat face. I'll take it.
I think that's what saved him from being hit in the head. His nose absorbed most of the blow first.
God, yeah, something did.
Sounds like the 80s when their noses would absorb most of the blow.
Hi-oh, you guys can both tell me more about that and the 70s and Vietnam. All right. See you guys later. Appreciate it.
Pew, pew, pew.
Dan, what's your reaction to the litany of social clips that have been going up lately?
I'm trying to keep up with them. My TikTok savvy daughter, did have tips on the secret of turning it off as soon as you post. I guess is like a hack.
What does she mean by
Like you're
turning
not
it off?
supposed to go back in TikTok.
Oh, I kind of
Like
do
you
that
close
anyway.
the app.
Okay, I kind of do that anyway, but I'll just close the app because I don't usually go back till later to check in anyway because I'm not on TikTok. But you're saying that's the trick?
Yeah, she says give it 2 hours. I'll
Before
have you
I
know, Tom, my middle daughter has like a TikTok with 40 million views.
Oh, okay.
So like the kids are serious about this shite. So
Yeah.
I don't know where she's getting it, but it worked for her.
anyway, we'll see how it
Made
goes.
me reinstall TikTok.
Yeah, I mean, I had never officially done it. Like, I had like fake profiles and names, so I had to kind of really, give China all my data.